The Holy Gospel according to Mark. Glory to you, O Lord. Jesus came to his hometown, and his disciples followed him. On the Sabbath, he began to preach in the synagogue, and many who heard him were astounded. They said, "Where did this man get all this? What is this wisdom that he has been given? What deeds of power are being done by his hands? Is not this the carpenter, son of Mary and brother of James and Joseph and Judas and Simon? And are not his sisters here with us?" And they took offense at Jesus. Then Jesus said to them, "Prophets are not without honor, except in their hometown and among their own kin and in their own house." And Jesus could do no deeds of power there, except that he laid his hands on a few sick people and cured them. And Jesus was amazed at their unbelief. Then Jesus went about the villages teaching. He called the 12 and began to send them out 2 by 2 and gave them authority over the unclean spirits. Jesus ordered them to take nothing for their journey except a staff, no bread, no bag, no money in their belts, but to wear sandals and not to put on 2 tunics. Jesus said to them, "Whenever you enter a house, stay there until you leave the place. If any place will not welcome you and they refuse to hear you as you leave, shake the dust that is on your feet as a testimony against them." So they went out and proclaimed that all should repent. They cast out many demons and anointed with oil those who were sick and cured them. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. Blessed be the Holy Trinity, one God. Amen. Do you have a place that you call your hometown? Or did your parents move a lot and you moved from place to place? If you can imagine a hometown, what was it like when you grew up? What's it like now? How did you celebrate July 4th then? Fireworks, parade, other festivities? As I mentioned last Sunday, during June, I was back in my hometown of Longmont, Colorado. Sometimes I've wondered, what if I had grown up in a different hometown? Now, both my parents grew up on farms in rural Nebraska. But due to asthma, my dad went into agribusiness instead of farming. What if I had grown up on a farm in rural Nebraska? Would have I shown hogs at the county fair? Would I have been able to develop my musical interests in the same way? Would it have been harder to come out there? And what if Ernest's family had not emigrated to the United States and he had stayed in Cuba? What would have become of him? Maybe you wonder the same things about your own story. Jesus is back in his hometown in today's gospel. After his ministry went public, there were some bumps here and there, but the news spread of the rave reviews in a neighboring Capernaum synagogue and the healing of another synagogue's leader's 12-year-old daughter in last week's gospel. Now Jesus has been invited to preach at his home congregation. These folks watched him grow up. They knew him before he was famous. And they've heard about his captivating miracles and teaching. So how does he do? Well, the people were astounded. The people were amazed. But not in such a good way. The Greek word suggests that they were incredulous, that they're not so sure he's for real. Now, many of us use the word amazing to say that was an amazing dinner. That was an amazing story that you wrote. That's an amazing whatever that we want to give someone a compliment on. But actually, the word amazing means filled with wonder and surprise, which means it can have a negative twist. We can be amazed at someone's stupidity, for example. So the hometown folks are thinking, what's the fuss about? Who gave this hometown boy such wisdom? Who does he think he is? And you know what they do? They pull out the scandal card. Isn't this the son of Mary? Suggesting a fatherless lineage for Jesus. And the people take offense at their hometown boy. I guess sometimes you can't go home. Jesus is amazed at the people's unbelief. And he boldly tells the critical crowd, prophets are not without honor, except in their hometown, and among their own kin, and in their own house. Well, there will be crowds this weekend, and there already have been. Think back to last year's non-celebration of July 4th. So let's move from hometowns to our homeland. Independence Day, a time to celebrate the gifts of freedom and liberty. But in recent decades, without an enemy for our country like communism, we direct our hate toward others in our country who see things differently or vote differently than we do. Some folks in some hometowns in this country see America as the city built on a hill and cling to noble things in our nation's history. Other hometowns name the scars we still bear from our treatment of indigenous people from the very beginning to the continuing legacy of slavery and inequality. But I wonder if both realities are true. The way different hometowns see the country is particularly noticeable these days in how they view or display the flag. Now, I remember a time when many churches were divided over whether an American flag should be displayed in a sanctuary. I don't think it was ever an issue at Holy Trinity, as far as I can tell. But just this morning, a couple hours ago, I read an article about stars, stripes, and division. A farmer on Long Island displays a large American flag on the side of his potato truck. When he revealed his kind of liberal leanings recently to a customer, the woman responded, "Oh, whew. You know, I wasn't so sure about you. I thought you were some kind of flag-waving something or another." But how sad it is that it's come to this. Yet the January 6th assault on the Capitol and supporters of our former president have embraced the flag so fervently that it's become partisan. The flag now is at the heart of our culture wars. So, for example, some see Colin Kaepernick's taking a knee during the national anthem as using the flag for political purposes. Or some flags now say on them, "Save America, fight socialism." Others modify the flag to express identities or belief systems, like the rainbow stripes as a symbol of gay pride, or blue stripes to show solidarity with the police. Different hometowns across our country, as you know, look at issues differently. It would be invigorating for us to get together, and maybe we could, at coffee hour this morning, and discuss the flag, church and state, and patriotism out of a faith perspective. But what seems clear to me is that everyone, including me, believes that their view, my view, is the right one, with no room to to name any shortcomings of our perspective, any weaknesses, any blind spots. And we're not even able to listen to one another anymore. One might have thought that a global pandemic and the continuing threat of climate change might bring a little bit more humility for us. But I'm not so sure. There is so much to be proud of as Americans, but we are also hell-bent on success and being the strongest, greatest country in the world, not to mention being right, which means how can that not bring some hubris? St. Paul's words today seem almost shocking, almost ridiculous in this regard. Paul had to deal with some mysterious thorn in the flesh. And for centuries, scholars have wondered what that was. He had to deal with this weakness that somehow kept him from being too elated. And he relied on these words from the Lord, "My grace is sufficient for you, for power is made perfect in weakness." Jesus was rejected by his hometown folk. So many different hometown people today look with disdain on those who think differently. Where does this all lead for us? What does Jesus do in our gospel? He simply gets on with it and invites people to do the same. He sends out the people, the disciples. He goes about the business of teaching and healing and proclaiming the good news. We do the same, holding gently our vulnerabilities, our weaknesses, our need for healing. Are we not called to lay down our hate and go forth with a message of love, trying to listen to those with whom we most fervently disagree? Yep, some are going to reject the message, some are going to reject the messenger, some are going to reject the good news in biblical times, throughout history and today. Yet Christ forgives, empowers, and strengthens us, and sends us forth to live our faith in word and deed. God's work, our hands. Honoring, yes. Praying, yes, for the homeland we love. Yet pledging our ultimate allegiance to divine grace shed on all people, all the diverse people of this land, and all countries of this beloved earth. Amen.